In this lesson, I'm going to show you chords in the key of C. So I'm going to show you just the basic chord formations, chord shapes with diagrams on the screen. I'll break down the finger placement for each finger on each string. And then I don't really have a ton of alternate chord voicings in the key of C. I do have a few for like the F chord, the C chord, and the G chord. So I'll probably just add some of those at the end of this lesson once we get the foundations laid. So the first chord in the key of C is going to be our C chord, our C major. And the way I'm going to teach these, I'm going to make it as simple as I can. A lot of people struggle with this F chord. I'm going to make it a little bit easier to do that F. Some people struggle with this A minor. I'm going to make it a little bit easier for that A minor. So starting off, that C chord, C major. And what I'm doing for all of these chords that you're going to see, I'm keeping my pinky finger and my pointer finger locked in on those two strings. So the pinky finger, always going to be on that high E string, 3rd fret. Pointer finger, always going to be on the B string on the 1st fret. We're going to get to our C, our A minor, our F, our G, all in this formation here. So similar to chords in the key of G, where we have our ring finger and pinky finger locked in there for all those chords. Kind of makes changing really, really nice, just compact in these 2 frets here. We're going to do the same thing with these chords. So the pinky and the pointer finger, those are going to be our anchor fingers for these chords. So then we have our middle finger on the 2nd fret, 3rd string from the top. And then we have our ring finger up here on the 3rd fret on the A string, 2nd string from the top. So that's the C. Now you can obviously play it without that ring or without that pinky finger on there, but that just requires you to do a little bit more changing, and it's good to have this pinky finger here as just your bass. You have it connected to the guitar the entire time, so you can easily switch to different chords. So that's our C. I'm going to show you how easy it is to get to an F chord and then also to an A minor chord from this position here. So here's our C. If we want to get to the A minor, all we want to do, take the ring finger off, keep, again, the pinky, the pointer finger on there, and then this middle finger, we're going to keep that on that string too. And now we're going to strum the bottom 5 strings. That bass note from the A minor chord is the A string, 2nd string from the top. Like that. There's your A minor. So C, A minor, C, A minor. So if we want to get to this F chord, instead of playing that bar chord, watch this. So we're in our C position. All you're going to do is move these 2 fingers, just move them down 1 string on each fret. So boom. So now the ring finger is still on that 3rd fret. It's on the 3rd string from the top. And then the middle finger is still on the 2nd fret. And now it's the 4th string from the top. And we have a couple of different ways we can do this. The easiest way is just strumming the bottom 4 strings. And if you catch that A string, that's fine. I would try to mute out the low E string and also the A string. You could mute out that A string just by rubbing the top of your ring finger into the A string, and then just have your thumb up here resting on the low E string to mute it out. Or just be really conscious when you're strumming. So just be strumming the bottom 4 strings. If you wanted to, you could also play this bass note here. Wrap that with your thumb. still muting that A string. But I think really the easiest way is just to have them both muted up here. So yeah, so that's our C to the A minor, C to the F, pretty easy. So let's go back to that C chord. To get to the G chord, all we're gonna do is move our ring finger up one string. So now it's on that low E string, just like a traditional G or G major. So C, we're gonna move that up there, and then just take your middle finger off. So that would be your G chord in the key of C. And I'm muting that second string from the top with my my ring finger. You can also take that pointer finger off if you wanted to and just play that open G major. But again, for changing chords, switching chords, for the sake of easiness, I usually just keep it on there, on that first fret. So those are the main four chords. Let's look at a C over E chord, which is just going to be your C shape. Again, that C major. And we're going to leave that bass note open. We're not going to mute it. And that's going to be a C over E. Whereas on that C major, if I didn't mention it, we just want to be strumming the bottom 5 strings. So muting out that low E string. But for the C over E, we want that bass note in there, so we strum all the strings. And then we have a G over B chord, which we'll get there from our, maybe the easiest way to get there will be from our A minor chord. So get to the A minor position and just move this middle finger up one string to the 2nd fret, 2nd string from the top. And I still have my pinky finger and I still have my pointer finger locked in on those 2 strings. So strumming the bottom 5 strings, G over B. So something you can work on, maybe a practice exercise. A minor, G over B, C, C, G over B, A minor. So that would be the G over B. Sometimes we'll need an E minor with this, with these chords. So I would just do this E minor here, keeping our pinky finger locked in on that high E string. And then just like our normal E minor, you have your pointer finger and your middle finger on the 2nd fret, on the 2nd string from the top, and then the 3rd string from the top. And we're just gonna keep that pinky finger on the high E string just to stabilize us and give us a little bit of a foundation there. So another chord that we'll need in this family of C chords and C shapes is a D minor. And I'll be honest, I'm not really a huge fan of this chord because it makes you get your fingers kind of all out of whack, as opposed to being on like this C and we have our pinky and pointer finger locked in on those strings as our foundation. This D minor, you've got to put your pointer finger on the high E string of the 1st fret. Then we do the middle finger on the 3rd string from the bottom, 2nd fret. And then we have our ring finger on the 2nd string from the bottom, 3rd fret. So that's a D minor there, and we want to be strumming the bottom 4 strings. Now, another way you can do this is instead of having your ring finger on the B string, the 2nd string from the bottom, sometimes I'll put my pointer finger depending on the song. Sometimes it sounds fine, sometimes you want to stick with that normal D minor. But sometimes, depending on the song, it's almost like you're in an A minor position here. You got your pointer finger, second string from the bottom, first fret, keeping our middle finger on that third string from the bottom, second fret. And then again, instead of with that ring finger, let's just put the pinky finger back on that high E string and strum the bottom 4 strings. I found that sometimes you can get away with this, which is much easier to get into your C, or to go from your G to your D minor. So you could always try that one too, depending on the song. So I think those are the main chords that we need for playing chords in the key of C. Now, I don't do a ton of different alternate chord voicings in this key, but a couple of things that I do is this F chord. So I showed you this one. This F chord here in F2, it sounds really nice, really rich and big. So all I'm doing is putting my ring finger on the 3rd fret, 2nd string from the top, and then I'm tucking my pinky on that right underneath it, 3rd fret, 3rd string from the top on that 3rd fret. And then I still have my pointer finger on that B string on the 1st fret. And what I'm doing to get that big sound is wrapping my thumb on the low E string of that 1st fret. And getting that bass note in there. So that would be an F chord in F2. You can also put your middle finger on the 2nd fret on that 3rd string from the bottom. And play around with that. That kind of has a nice sound sometimes. And then, so that would be one different way you could play the F chord. If you wanted to play a C chord a little bit, make it sound a little bit bigger, sometimes I'll play just this C over G. We're just adding in the bass note here. So we have our C, and then I've seen some people wrap their pinky up on that low E string there to get that G in there. But I just like to do it like this, because I can easily go to that F. So this would be a C over G. And sometimes, depending on the song, I'll just play, if there's a C chord in it, I'll just play this. It's just kind of nice and big, nice and smooth. To the F chord. So that would be one alternative way you could do the C chord. And then the G chord, so instead of doing this G, we could go into our F position and just slide this whole shape up 2 frets. So 1, 2. And then you could use that for a G chord. Really just kind of playing the bottom 4 strings. You could also do that with this F. So that would be one different way you could do the G chord. Aside from that, when I'm in this key, I usually just play the chords pretty straightforward. No tricks, nothing fancy. But yeah. So give those a crack, give them a shot. I'll have the chord charts with diagrams, everything that we went over at the beginning of this lesson on my Patreon page, showing you the dots, where your fingers go. So if you need to print that out or just download it to a PDF or whatever. I'll have that on my Patreon page. I'll link that in the description. And yeah, if you have questions, definitely let me know, leave a comment. But I hope this helps you out, and I'll see you soon.